I want to provide some feedback regarding today's TWAB. Today is July 15th, 2021, and the TWAB was about reputation system, Nightfalls, and titles. So that's what I'm going to talk about from the perspective of a hardcore player, or more than that, whatever you categorize me as. So let's start with the reputation system. I'm going to talk about what I find good and bad with it. So let's go with the good. Getting materials for just playing the game is nice. Getting legendary drops is okay, but these are, wow, a bond or class item. They're highly unlikely to be useful. A 55 total. All right. If I had an option to just auto-convert all of these to legendary shards and gunsmith materials, I would. I could actually leave these at the end of a season. They would get deleted, and it would make zero difference on my account because 15,000 legendary shards, etc. What did I even get there? Kinetic bow. Getting this exotic at the end of the reputation rewards is awesome, but it's super unlikely to be useful because look at how many exotic armor pieces. The chance of it being a good exotic like Stompies, and then the chance of it being a good roll is just so low. So low. So, and then I'm also going to say that the weekly featured armor right here is amazing. Like the 801 chest piece this week, I did the last video on that. Go grab that if you haven't. This is awesome for rounding out your own builds and then catching up friends by telling them when to grab armor pieces so that they can have a competitive build. So now let's talk about the bad stuff. The legendary drop system. Wow, this could be something I actually want. And no phase mag. No range. So it doesn't do anything unique for me. The legendary drops are effectively the same as the token system of the past. So you see how I have hundreds of legendary rewards saved up that are effectively doing nothing for me? Look, I have a bunch of legendary rewards banked up that are effectively doing nothing for me. 51 total boots. This could be good. This is really good. No spike nade. So while I would like this, no spike nades makes that not as useful. And I also have one with the blast radius perk. Okay. Just for example, I'm going to do the same thing at Shaxx one more time. And we're going to see how useful it is to not have tokens versus have tokens. 55 total. Give me a weapon this time. Give me a weapon this time. Give me a weapon this time. There we go. Grave Robber Unrelenting. I don't even have to look at the rest of the perks to instant delete that. I'm getting legendary shards and gunsmith materials. You know what? Let's go for 100 gunsmith materials. Then I'll go visit the gunsmith. This is part of the feedback, by the way. This is what you have to do. This is a chore. So why would I want to go to the gunsmith? Well, the gunsmith has a different loot pool. It does have the world loot pool in there, but it also has things like the True Prophecy, which is a best in slot hand cannon. And you see I have unclaimed rewards right there because I'm going to use them for future power leveling, so I don't have to do as many chores. And it saves on vault space while I don't immediately need those items. Okay, so I didn't get True Prophecy with Rangefinder, so those materials were effectively useless to me again. It's just so unlikely to get something useful for an endgame player. So another bad thing about this reputation system is that you have to physically visit the tower to claim your rewards, and if you don't, you could be doing a raid and it will pop up telling you to reset your Valor at Shaxx, and you could fall off the cliff. Shoutouts to that movie, The Week Contender. I really dislike that you have to deal with the world loot pool as opposed to the Crucible loot pool. Imagine how nice it would be to get frozen orbits from any of these packages. Just for fun, someone run the numbers on the RNG chance of getting a frozen orbit with only snapshot and auto-loading holster. Then run the numbers again on the same, but with fluted barrel and a handling masterwork added. Someone might say in the comment section, oh, but Cammy, you don't need a perfect frozen orbit to... I'm going to stop you right there. I do need that specific role to compete in Gambit because it fits a very well-rounded competitive build, and against similarly skilled opponents, every second matters. How nice would it be to be able to curb RNG or deterministically pick your rewards at these reputation vendors? Because right now, this doesn't change anything from the previous system for me. Again, this is all for sake of feedback, me doing this in the background. This is live commentary, by the way. Let's move on to Nightfalls. Let me preface this by saying that Grandmaster Nightfalls are perhaps the most fun PvE activity in Destiny. Your builds matter in GMs. Look at all these modifiers. They arguably aren't worth the effort, though, depending on what the weekly reward is. If every Nightfall has the same universal loot pool, then the efficient player will do the easiest and or fastest strike only. Lost sectors also compete for this same reward space due to it being so low as well. I'm going to quickly pull up todayindestiny.com and see what the lost sectors are. Bunker E15 and Perdition. If you play a Warlock, Perdition can be very fast, and it's exotic head armor. So, out of curiosity, let's see what that would look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 helmets on Hunter. That's significantly better chances of getting what you want than this entire pool. That right there makes me want to do lost sectors and not GMs if I'm solely going for rewards. I do like the adept weapons added though. That does make them more appealing and is the sole reason I'm going to farm for the palindrome. Whatever Grandmaster Strike has the palindrome, I'm doing that one. Doesn't matter how hard it is. So this theme can force players to engage with the GMs. And they're talking about something in the TWAB that will force people to engage with all the GMs due to the Conqueror title or something like that. You can read the specifics in the description below. But I think the system can be done even better. If we have the adept weapons forcing people to engage with the strike they otherwise wouldn't, then why not open the doors to specific exotics dropping as well? You could, for example, have the Stompies drop on the hardest Nightfall, like the Glassway or something like that. You could have it drop Stompies and then a world drop as well. So you get 2 exotics, but one of those 2 is guaranteed to be Stompies. If you did that, I'd be in there right now. Why not multiple drops on the harder GMs? Why not a Menagerie Chalice system in the form of a Nightfall card? Why not Skeleton Keys from Destiny 1? I could go on, but the player will always choose the path that respects their time the most. For me, build crafting in a competitive space is the most fun option in Destiny 2. I hate being held hostage by these systems built for someone to, quote, have something to grind for. What the hell do they even do when they get their White Whale item anyway? I'll tell you for a fact, when I make a build, it becomes a regular rotator in my day-to-day PvP. Like the Shinobu's Vow with Lemon Arc setup is amazing, and I want a Raiju's Harness to eventually not be reliant on Shinobu's getting me the super in the first place. I would play so much more Arc Strider if I could compete with Raiju's Harness, but unfortunately, I can't get all the gear to do so. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that fun enabling builds is something I grind for. I don't really play for the thrill of the hunt. I play for the skill of the hunt. I seek out challenges and love having a variety of problem-solving tools at my disposal. Player versus environment in this game has been historically easy, so the best place to be challenged is in player versus player situations. That's your typical Crucible or Gambit setup. And this is super aggravating because of how unlikely it is to put together a competitive build in the first place. I'm extremely content with how I have my Hunter set up. But I don't only want to play this. Overall, and again, I'm saying this with love here, saying this from the point of view of a hardcore player, the RNG across the whole game is bullshit. It's as if the economy health-preserving countermeasures of a trading system exist in a game, get this, without a trading system. Okay, the TWAB also talked about titles. Gonna switch gears here to make this video short and concise. I like titles, verifiable accolades, earnable cosmetics, etc. Let's take a look. I guess I have Dredgen, Unbroken, Conqueror, and a lot of these are almost complete, or they have the hardest parts of them complete. I just don't really care to finish them. To me, they lose most of their meaning when obtaining them is very easy. I've historically used titles as an insurance measure for keeping toxic players in check. Remember back in Destiny 1 where people would always say must have Galahorn? Well, in Destiny 2, because we have titles and verifiable ways to like check damage and stuff like that, I'd tell them why. I parsed 1.5 million on Riven without Galahorn, and I have day 1 emblems, and I have a broadsword ornament. So I think we'll be fine without Galahorn. So, while gilded titles show off current investment, I personally value the lifetime accolades more. For example, a Season 3 Unbroken means so much more to me than a Season 14 Unbroken. A Day 1 Last Wish emblem means so much more than a Day 1 Deepstone Crypt emblem. Does this make me elitist? I'll let you decide that. I just want to shoot primary weapons in PvP with objective game modes and not be complained at by toxic idiots about the way modern D2 Sandbox forces me to play. Titles and accolades are a great way for them to shut the fuck up so I can go back to playing the game. In a more whimsical note though, I'd like to see some fun titles, like reaching 777,000 kills on a weapon. I feel like that's the Bungie number. Like imagine if I did this on this Kindled Orchid and it just gave me the title of Kindled Orchid. Or this got an exclusive shader or something that could only be equipped on weapons that you reach that kill count. There are so many ways for them to have fun with the titles. And you also got to think that the cheating epidemic across gaming has also kind of ruined accolades and the fact that you could just recov any of these accolades anyway. So as a content creator, I value that. I have my entire YouTube channel full of things I've done that are verifiable so that if I'm ever in that situation of someone saying I must have Galahorn, I can shoot him the VOD and be like, I literally solo this boss, I am just helping you. Food for thought. Ultimately, it takes so long to put together a min-maxed endgame build that I don't even have any time left over to chase titles in the first place. Overall, I love Destiny's gunplay, world, and sometimes the sandbox. But I hate having to fight the in-game systems to spice up the gameplay. Hope I wasn't too bitchy on this one. I love the game, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.